Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 220. And in today's episode, we're going to do a little talk about risk assessment. I know that most of the time when we think of risk, and obviously the podcast is called the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast. Um, just a little personal story. We did a little island getaway, and during the island getaway, they had a tour that you could take where you would go on a bioluminescent tour, and I really struggle with that word even after practicing over and over. And so basically, when you get inside the water is probably 3 to 4 feet, if that. So you can always stand, but what they want you to do is to kind of float, look down with the snorkel, and as you're making waves, as you're kind of swimming and snorkeling, it's lighting up. So you do this whole thing at night, so you can really see good. So I know that it's snorkeling at night in very shallow water, so really good. But when we show up, of course, as a family, we go through the risk assessment um, process. Then, we start to sit down and just kind of as a family talk and say, okay, so they have these jellyfish sting suits, and of course the captain is like, you can wear it, you can not wear it, it's totally optional for you. Then he went over hey, here's the first aid kit for any stings. This is how we put it on, all that kind of stuff then. Um, and then I didn't have to say anything, and my kids put the suit on. My wife did, me. But of a boat of probably about 40 people, I bet you probably only 10 or 12 of us put that thing on. So we go to the first stop. It's awesome, and we're having a great time and all that. Somebody gets stung by jellyfish, and the amount of people getting back on that boat was incredible. But the one thing I realized, of course, was, well, it's everybody who doesn't have a jellyfish sting suit on. And when you think about the risk assessment process, you're going to have a snorkel, so you're still going to have parts of your head exposed. Your face is totally covered up with the mask and the snorkel. Zips up really good, all that good stuff then. Um, so people get back on the boat. Me and my family stay out because not only have we not seen one, but we have the suit on, so we have a lot of confidence in this whole thing. Um, at some point in time, it's time to go to the next stop, so we hop back on the boat. Probably drive the boat another 20, 30 minutes and hop off on the second one. And this is where it's really shallow. It's probably only 3 feet deep. You get off, and then as you swim, just your motion of your hands, real gentle and slow, is making these really awesome light show in front of you. And so even though it's at night, the captain does not have his light on except for the red and the green light, just so that nobody hits the boat, of course. Um, it was awesome and fun and great and all that. But at this point, every single person has got the suit on, because now that they've actually seen somebody get stung, people take it serious now, which really got me thinking that, when we look at risk, whether we're at work or we're at play at home, sometimes if it's something that you haven't experienced, you're not really sure what to do. So you kind of look around at others, and just kind of follow the lead of others out there. So there's a lot of really big macho guys on there, and they weren't doing it because the jellyfish sting doesn't hurt. Well, when the first person got stung, those guys got back in that boat really fast, put all that stuff on, took it serious after that. But let's get back to the story. So we're doing the snorkeling, and it's awesome and it's fun. And my daughter says, "Oh, it got me. I got stung on the hand." So we're like, all right, we'll go ahead, we'll get out, we'll put the stuff on you. So of course, when people hear this, then just about everybody gets out. Um, we spray the stuff on, and she's like, all right, I'm good. And um, just about everybody was like, but you're going to get back in. And, she's only 17, real good level head, and says, I got all the equipment, I got the PPE. I now see that the little spray that the guy put on works. She's been out of the water about 30 seconds. She's like, all right, I'm ready to go back in. This is awesome and fun. So me and her got back in. We swam around for a while. We did it for another 5 or 10, and then it was time anyway just to leave. Um, but that really got me thinking that this is something that I had never heard of. Now, obviously, the guys who work the boat wear this stuff. So when I think about occupational safety, I think about a factory floor, I think about a chemical plant, there's a construction site. I had never really thought about there are people who are going to take out boats, and I kind of thought, well, you wear your life vest, you're good, you won't drown, all that stuff. But there's a lot of other forms of PPE that are um, out there that we just don't commonly know, which also got me thinking, I wonder if there's a lot of great things to solve our safety issues out there with PPE, but sometimes we're stuck in our way. We haven't experienced it. We haven't thought outside the box because history has taught us this is exactly how you tackle this problem. Maybe what we have to do as a whole industry, of course, is to really sit back and say, how do I really tackle this whole problem, as opposed to I covered it up enough, I lowered the risk enough. In a ideal world, it would be awesome that the risk was zero, so that's not going to happen. But I think we can do a much better job out there. So at this point, I'm just kind of rambling on, but I just wanted to tell this personal story that we do risk assessments when we're not at work too. We may not be looking at a chart and a graph, and we may not be documenting it, so we're going to stick it in the spreadsheet and we're going to archive it. And so we don't always do that, but no matter what, we're always doing a risk assessment just as we go through our everyday life. And with that, I want to end. I want to thank everybody for joining me. This was episode 220, where we talked about a little risk assessment and adventure that me and my family did, and we wore the Jellyfish Sting PPE. Worked awesome and great, and I really kind of sat down and thought about it, and I'm not sure how that I could really engineer out this, except that maybe there was like a glass bottom boat. Maybe somebody had put something underneath to stir up the water to kind of imitate a hand. Watch this whole thing then. Um, but then I started thinking that because it's supposed to be a fun activity, something that you're doing. Like this is not work. This is not something that maybe we don't want to do. This is something that we want to do. I'm still not really sure how I would engineer out 100% that possibility of getting stung by a jellyfish. So thank you for joining me and have a safe day.